Hi, everyone. Dom Famularo here, and I'm back in my studio. And as we have been doing on these every 2 times a month on Thursdays at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I have the Sabian Education Network. This is such a fantastic vehicle to showcase drummers from all around the world. And I've had incredible interviews, and I've got many, many more coming up. So stay tuned and come on and check it out. You'll see when this is all posted on social media and what we have. Stay attuned to Sabian.com and go to all the Sabian Facebook and Instagram pages and enjoy and sign up and be a part of what's happening. There's tons of information that's being posted. And these spots that we have here, I have a chance of being able to connect with people all around the world. And it's just so great that today, from Italy, I've got an incredible former student of mine who is just a phenomenal player. Would you please welcome Elia Micheletto?
Hi, everybody. Hey, Don. Hope you're well.
Thanks so much for joining me here. Now, what part of Italy are you in?
Close to Milan.
Close to Milan. So you're in Milan, which is a beautiful city in Milan. So, and you're able to travel. So when you fly out of Milan Airport?
Yeah, of course.
That's the closest airport there. Fantastic. Well, I want to go back and I want people to get to know you. You've got incredible videos that I have seen on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. You've got some phenomenal stuff there. I want people to get familiar with your website, which is yourname.com, EliaMicheletto.com.
Yeah, it is.
I want people to really kind of see what you're doing because you are playing so fantastic at what you're doing. And as a student of the art form, as an educator, you're involved with so many different things, plus the band that you're traveling with around the world. So I want to start, let's go back to your beginning in drumming. What got you involved in drumming?
Yeah. So first, I want to thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying my videos and my stuff. You know, all the weird comps that I use and I do in the videos, they start from, ideas, studying, researching stuff. It's not just a drum cover usually. Yeah. So, and I'm lucky enough to work with wonderful musicians. So if I can do what I do is because I work with amazing guys, people that, is full of love for music, Yeah. Music is passion and it takes a lot of sacrifice to do what we do, yeah. Especially nowadays. So I started from really young kid. I think the first time I've seen a drum was a concert of Deep Purple.
Nice.
Yes, with my dad. And, the first time I saw Jan Pace, I was totally, shocked. Also, he was lefty, and I started to play lefty. So his hands were incredible. He's playing the music. So I started to fall in love with music actually that day, probably. And then I also had the fortune to have good music in my house, Beatles, Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, or my uncle gave me a lot of records, Van Halen. So beautiful music. And it came actually natural, like a second nature.
So you're hearing all this music, and when did you first start getting a drum set to start playing?
Actually, I first started to play on my grandma couch. That was the first one. I think a friend of mine who has a brother, a big brother, he gave me a couple of sticks that he was not using anymore, like a little bit ruined here and there. So not really beautiful sticks, not good balance, but sticks. So I started to play on anything, anywhere, the couch, any pant, pots, everywhere. So my grandma go nuts and say, okay, take the kid and bring it into school and let it play. So that's actually how it started. And, but, I didn't like it at first school, too many rules, and I'm a rules breaker or stuff like that. So I just started to play, learning, VHS. So I was stealing VHS from people, and that's actually where I found my first 2 drum heroes ever. Because the first half of the VHS was Terry Bozzio. I don't know if you remember that VHS where he was playing these Remo black drums with pasted cymbals, black. Everything was black, and his blondie hairs. So Terry Bozzio actually was one of my first, drum hero ever. And on the other side, I was lucky enough because I found two really good guys to like watch and copy, trying to emulate them. No? The other one was Dennis Chambers, and the VHS was in the pocket when it's playing with Gary Granger. So trying to emulate those doubles between tones and flows with only with one foot. Because the first half it was Terry Bozzio doing the double bass, and I say, okay, I want to try that, but then with Dennis Chambers was another game. He was doing everything with one hand, so it was kind of much more complex. So those were actually my first two real teachers, if I can say that. And yeah, that's how I started.
So you started with I mean, first of all, with Bozzio and Dennis Chambers. Those are players that will for sure open up your eyes when it comes to drumming. They are phenomenal players. So music-wise, did you start listening to some of their music?
Oh yeah, actually, I was trying at first just to emulate the video, trying to replaying kind of what they were doing, and not actually reading or sight reading stuff. That came later, really a lot later, because I started to really focus on my studies when I was maybe 14 or 15 years old. That's where actually everything changed. And I studied in Milan, and my real first teacher, the one that really put me into readings and exercises and stuff like that, was Luca Turolla. You know him.
Yeah.
And that was the first actually teacher who really forced me and pushed me to work on my basics. Because I've been always playing on recordings. So that's what I was doing actually, ears and trying to emulate and guessing. That was the main thing for me.
So did he take you through? Did you work on rudiments, hand technique, books? What did Lucas do?
Oh, a lot of books. A lot of books. Yeah. So actually, I started to expand my knowledge in terms of studying in a proper way when I went in the United States at Berklee. So when I went to Berklee, I really had the fortune to go so deep into the music, because it was music everywhere, that music. And I remember that every time we had a lesson, there was always not just exercises, but also musical rhythms to try to connect and, use the things you work, even if we practice paradiddles on the practice pad, they may tell you, listen to this Chick Corea song, the Steve Gadd is playing the inverted paradiddle, and do some coordination with that thing, play along the music. So Berklee actually was the challenge for me, actually. Yeah.
So you made the move from Italy to Berklee.
Yeah, I made that. And one of the first actually drummer I met there, which was also, it's a great guy. I love him. Is Sergio Bellotti. And Sergio was my man there because I didn't have a place also to practice. I took lesson with him as well. And I remember that one of the things we focused was, playing rudiments, together. That was the kind of warm up that we did. But then the interesting things that he gave me was this snare drum reading, which is not playing like a Wilcoxon, which is more technical, like flam rudiments, etc. Was and wasn't a reading like syncopated reading, like a syncopation and stuff like that. And it was a Garwood Whaley, I think, if I remember.
Garwood Whaley, yes, his books are phenomenal.
Yeah, those books. I actually never went into that kind of approach on the snare drum, because it's a reading plus dynamics, time signature changings. And also there's the Anthony Ciccerone one.
Anthony Cerrone, Portraits in Rhythm.
Yeah, that one is another one.
Yeah.
So we went into that kind of madness. Definitely change the approach of your hands. If you never, if people is listening and they never try to to use those kind of material, they should, because it's different than play rudiments or stick control, those books. It's another story, it's another game. And it's a huge benefit for the hands.
Yeah. Well, so as you work, so first of all, Sergio Bellotte, who is a phenomenal player and a teacher, he's also a southpaw. He's a lefty, and he's a phenomenal. He's been teaching up at Berklee for many years. He also has a drum shop up there called 24/7.
Yeah, 24/7 drums. Go there.
It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Exactly, you're right.
It does every day.
Every single day. And he really is just a phenomenal student. I mean, he's come and taken some lessons with me, and he's just a phenomenal, constant student of the art form. So the fact that you had a chance to spend some time with him, that was pretty lucky.
Yeah, I was. Sergio is also a good person, so it was also really fun to, hang out with him and after classes and, eating, drinking stuff. Really great guy. He also invited us many times to play, during his gigs. He let us sit and play, when he was doing gigs and with his local band in Boston. So it's really great. It was really great, man. And many people there, man. That was the place where everything changed. Another one, which is it's like a second dad for me. Is Skip Haddon.
Yeah,
Skip is amazing, man. He's amazing. I never actually took that many lessons with him because I didn't took classes with him. But we were so close. We spent time together, and I think he's the guy that actually gave me too much stuff, for study. Every time Skip has something for me, it's like sending me. Still nowadays, after 10 years, he's sending me stuff like, "Oh yeah, check this out. You may enjoy this one, or try this one. This is Tony Williams things. If you love groups of fives, try to emulate that thing." So Skip is incredible. I love him. I really love him.
I've had the chance of knowing Skip for many years, and he really is a brilliant mind in the drumming community as a player and an educator. He's got a vast array of resources in his office, at his studio.
Yes,
thousands of recordings and videos and DVDs, and he's got everything there.
Yeah, I've seen that room because I've been many times at his place. He was so kind, to invite me, and I spent a few days with him in his house, and yes, a lot of stuff. Everyone has an hard drive, as a backup, to save the things you have in the computer. I have an hard drive for what Skip is sending me. There's no space enough in my computer for, I think, books, videos, transcriptions, I don't know. And the list goes on and on.
Boy, that is fantastic. Well, listen, you made the commitment. How long were you at Berklee?
A little while. I did actually. I went there two times. The first times I spent the majority of my time with Mike Mangini. Yeah. That he was actually the guy that actually gave me the opportunity to play the way I play today in terms of open-handed. So actually, he was scared that everybody was going to take classes with him to play fast, because he's fast. But I didn't want that, I said I want to be able to do the same thing that I do with the right with the left, and vice versa. Same thing with the feet. So he was really pushing me hard. Also, he has his own technique. I guess you've seen that.
Yes.
It brings a lot of tension, in the playing, while you play. So I think that wasn't my thing, because I was still hitting over a wall, and it was making work so hard, man. Like quintuplets, it was choosing. I remember classes of 2 hours long, and it was choosing one random subdivision. We had groups of odd groupings and even groupings, right? So from triplets to 19 tuplets. I don't know how to say that, but 19 strokes in one beat, stuff like that. And then there was the even groupings that were reaching 18 couplets, you know. So he was choosing one tempo, one subdivision, one sticking, and one orchestration. And you had to do that like 100 times. While counting, you know, because wasn't enough, you know, that's moving back and forth, you know, from the tom to the snare drum, hours of that thing. And every time, you know, that I was thinking, I'm getting better at this, you know, like I did my homework, you know, I'm getting better. And I remember every time Mike would say, nah, that's not enough, more hours. So I remember that, you know, Boston is famous for, you know, his lovely places, restaurants, and stuff like that. And I remember that my mom was calling me on Sunday, telling me, where you going today? You know, and I think on Sunday I was sleeping, you know, the whole day for too many hours of practicing. Because after lessons, we were going to Sergio's studio that was so kind to, you know, he was giving his studios for us for practice. So we rent hours and we were practicing, I don't know, 8 hours in a row right after school. So it was really intense.
Well,
And yeah,
it sounds like that level of commitment, you know, at that time, putting the practicing in, learning. I mean, you dove into this 100%.
yeah, your brain, you know, can reach the level that you can ever imagine when you are in such, you know, too many things, you like knowledge over knowledge, you know, you gotta listen stuff, you gotta practice, you gotta learn things. Was really incredible, you know, and you know, no pauses at all. So
Yeah, no, you had to work hard for that. So what was it like? So you when did you make the change over to play open-handed? When did that happen?
that happened right right before Berklee, actually, but went much more better right after Berklee. I explained to you that. So I was playing the first time really I went on a drum set. The teacher of this school, and I was a young kid. I was like 6 years old or 7. I don't remember, maybe 8. Who cares? And he was righty, so I was, you know, playing righty. All right, so that's the beginning. And after 2 years, I found another guy who told me, but if you're a lefty, you should play lefty. And I say, okay. So I reversed the drums and I started to play lefty. But the years that I did with the right hand, you know, made me much more comfortable to play with the right hand on the hi-hat.
Yeah.
So I was on the lefty drum set playing open, but with the right hand, right? So was moving this way, counterclockwise, with the right hand on the hi-hat. And then the you know, I felt really comfortable play that way, but the challenge wasn't actually for musical research or any fashion. You know, the challenge was because I was playing with a band that left me home because, you know, they had to do a big tour. And during this big tour, there was only one drum set available, and that drum set was a righty, you know, and it involved a rack system, so no one allowed me to reverse the drums.
So you couldn't freeze anything.
No. So they left me home, and that pissed me off. And you know, even if I live here in Milan, you know, I'm Southern, and I'm pretty hard. You know?
Pretty strong-headed. I understand it. I get it. Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, I was still playing outside with other bands, you know, with the lefty drums. But then actually, in my studio, I was working reverse with the drum set, reverse it. I just started with hi-hat, bass drum, and snare. And, you know, it wasn't really the hands, but the complicated part were the feet, reversing the feet, you know, that natch of pushing the bass drum with the right foot was really uncomfortable. Or any ostinato that I've been working for months, years, you know, reverse. So was really painful, but it really was a really good school for me. And step by step, I was adding, you know, drums. So first time rack tom, Then I took off the first rectangle, I put the second one, then off, then the floor, then trying to being familiar with that thing. It was completely a mess. That's why Mike Mangini saved me, because he made me work so much with my limbs in terms of coordination and sticking, any other, any limbs combination, like the hands, then, vertical coordination, cross, and yeah. So Mike saved me. And right after that, I was much more comfortable, even, not just about playing, but here I knew what to do to get better there.
Boy, that's so interesting. So you leave Berklee, you come back to Italy. What was the next step after that?
No, before I met you.
So
yeah, I went to study with you in your studio there.
Right. So after Berklee, you came down here.
Yeah, because it was too much painful with Mike, and I said I have to find out how to fix this, right? And then you were the next challenge, actually. The hands challenge. The wisdom of the hands, and that actually, all the blocks that I had with Mike going, forward. Because he used a lot of nerves. He has big nerves. I don't have big nerves. I have much more big muscles. So, for me, wasn't working really that kind of technique. I know that people is using till nowadays. There are a few guys that are playing really fast in that way. But for me, tension is good as terms. We can even bring tension when we play in a little short, aspect. But I'm playing the opposite way, it's completely loose compared to, with tension. Tension is not working with my body, actually. And I have to follow my body because I communicate with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is one of the things that we worked on, is the fact that I wanted to remove the tension from your system. And by removing the tension, it allows you to have way more freedom and way more relaxation in your playing, of course. But what's interesting is tension, like, even a piano player can play notes of tension, but not be tense.
Yeah, it is.
And a drummer can do the same thing. We can play rhythms and patterns of tension, but not have to be tense ourselves. So by pulling the tension out of your playing, you learned it very, very well, man. We did these sessions, and you just understood it, and you moved it very, very quickly. So you were able to turn that around in your playing.
Yeah, I was quick because I spent a lot of hours first, and then because it was natural for me. Once you understand that kind of system is natural, I think that everything comes. We just have to be patient, and it's a sacrifice. Hours and hours. Sometimes people think that we're just cool because we go on stage, and they don't realize how many hours we kick our ass on pad, on the drums, sweating, and it's not as easy as people think.
You are 100% correct. And listen, I've been doing this a long time. I'm still pushing myself and still learning. So it's an ongoing journey. Elia, we have people here from literally all around the world. We've got, this is incredible. Let me pull up some people. We've got, here's Jan Kirk Segovia watching from the Philippines.
Oh, thanks, man.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We got, my gosh, this is Ivan Hernandez, phenomenal person and a great player from Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I love Puerto Rico.
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you so much. And here is a wonderful female drummer. Her name is Martina. She's from Cyprus. Thank you so much for joining us here. Beautiful, fantastic. We've got Artemy Kaur, who's a wonderful drummer from Moscow. So you've got a pretty wide reach here. Thank you, Artemy. Thanks for joining us here. We've got people from literally all around the world here. So the key aspect here is that you really have put an amazing amount of time into studying and practicing. And you get back to Italy and you started doing some teaching, from what I understand, right?
Yeah, I started to do some teaching. But actually, I didn't spend a lot of time in Italy as I went back home, because right after Mangini, I went in Australia and I spent time with another guy, is Grant Collins.
Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
another fantastic player, and that in Brisbane I studied Afro-Cuban, Brazilian music, all the percussions, all the stuff, and tried to mess around with my limbs. I started to play multi pedals like 10 or stuff like that. Yeah, it was really challenging, but then it's a choice. It's a choice. I had to make a choice. Oh, if you want to play that kind of things, you have to play that kind of things. You know, music and playing with the band, playing with people is another things, and I love it much more because playing with people, you share way too many things, not just the music you play.
Yeah, you share moments of life. And Grant Collins, who I know very well, is in Brisbane, Australia. Grant is a phenomenal, educator and professor and performer. And again, he plays a pretty big drum set. The last drum set I saw from Grant was a drum set that was completely in the round. He had to crawl underneath to get inside of it.
Yeah, I seen that one. I seen it in his practice room. Was it you?
Incredible. It was really incredible. So that level of playing, which is kind of like I called Grant Collins the Terry Bozzio, Grant is Terry Bozzio 0.20.
Yeah, it is. he's definitely that thing, and that's actually the reason why I wanted to meet him and study with him, understanding the concept actually of how to do that kind of things. Terry Bozzio was unreachable, that's why, and but Grant was amazing. I discovered a really great guy and an amazing teacher and educator, and he was incredible. He was incredible.
So how long were you in Australia for?
9 months.
9 months, right? So you stayed 9 months. You studied. So now you're going to come back to Italy.
Yeah, but for a short period of time. I never, I think that in my first half of my 20s, I'm really never been in Italy actually for a long period of time, just visiting home and say hi. And yes, because then I went back again in New York, where I've seen you the second time, remember? And then I've met the other guy who actually changed my playing. It was Kim Planfield.
Kim Plainfield, rest his soul, man. What a wonderful person. What a wonderful player.
Incredible, skilled drummer. The paradiddle diddle, the way he was playing paradiddle diddle was shocking me. The first time I thought I had fast paradiddle diddles, and then I saw him. I say, okay, let's go practice. It's not enough. And it was really, he was a pretty strong guy. That's why I loved him. He was giving you, he was kicking you. And I like that kind of things. It's like fighting. In terms of knowledge. You know that? Oh, you should know that. Go home. Don't make me waste my time. That was the kind of guy, really strong. I loved him. And this is.
And his book was Advanced Concepts that you had gone through. I remember that. Yeah, I remember you going through the book with him. It was fantastic.
Yeah. This actually is one of my is in my top 5 of books, and I think everyone is interested in being able to being versatile actually, because it involves different styles, funk, fusion. It's a really great book. Yeah, it's still one of my favorite. You got 6/8 patterns, a few Afro-Cuban patterns, 6/8, guaguancó, songo, different things. Samba stuff. Of course, it's like a fusion, right? It's not the tradition, but it's great, because it gives you pretty much a well-round knowledge, for being able to play different things.
Yeah. There's many people. Here's Zach Sukhoi. Kim was incredible up to this day. I still use his warm-up technique.
Yeah, especially with brushes.
Thank you, Czar.
Thanks. Yeah, one of the things that he was doing, before lesson, he told me warm up 10 minutes, single strokes at 160, 170, maybe 190, but with brushes. He was destroying me, but I loved him. I always loving, his approach, and really great guy, really great teacher. Will be missed for sure.
We lost him way too young. He passed away about a year or 2 years ago, and I had been with him just before, hanging out with him, and just a wonderful person to be with. And he was a strong educator. He really believed in passing on the knowledge, and when you went to Kim, you learned.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, you learned. Absolutely. So at this particular point now, so what was some of the bands you were playing with at this time?
Oh, actually, during those days, I was just subbing people, so I was working as a sub drummer, not actually at my own things, because I was too much involved into studies. For me, it was studying, and the bands were the second thing, because there were too many information, and also, after Berklee, then I got too many things to manage, and it takes time for, when you study so many things, it takes time to digest them, until you can really play, So I started to play back when I went back in Italy, actually. When I went back in Italy after a year or stuff like that, that's when I started to play. Started meeting people. So I'm actually new to Milan, even just 5 years or stuff like that. That I'm really in the city, meeting people and musicians. So I'm fortunate because I'm working with some great guys. My band moving forward involve Giovanni Ghioldi on guitar and vocals and synth. He's a he plays anything except of drums, fortunately. So I can play that. And Gabriele Costa on bass, another amazing musician. So this is my band, my project, where we write music, and we're going to do something cool, maybe September or stuff like that. We are waiting that this COVID situation, pass by, and we really hope it ends close.
Oh, well, hopefully it'll allow you to get out and play. So, and now talk about the Michael Jackson tribute band that you have.
Oh yeah, that's the main project I work with, and the leader is Sergio Cortez, who's the impersonator of this tribute we have, and this tribute is huge. It's really a great show. It's not because I'm playing it, but it's because it is, and I strongly believe we have a lot of feedback. Is one of the best show about Michael Jackson.
I've seen some of the footage of what you do. It literally is the greatest Michael Jackson tribute show in the world. This guy is incredible. The band is on fire. It really is fantastic. So talk more about it. How did you get involved with it?
Oh, I auditioned it, and they got me. Easy. And
what was the audition like?
I had to play different. Was different kind of mix that they were playing, because they rearranged a few songs, and it's not like the originals. It's like more close to what they do in live, So like I don't remember the name of This Is It Live. Kind of close to those kind of arrangements.
Right.
So nowadays, actually, we are working on the new show. So we are working on new stuff, new music, new arrangements. We have I'll tell you who's in the band, because are all incredible players. And so we have Amudi Safa, which is the guitar player, and is the guy that follow all the details in terms of video, audio, and he's doing too many things, but he also plays guitars and is actually the leader of the band, the guy that managed the things. And so that's him in. Then there's two backing vocals, Martina Zaghi, then Giovanni Ghioldi, who is the same guy I work with my own project. And in this project nowadays is the musical director, so he's rearranging stuff. So that's why we're working on the new music, right? So we are rearranging the old show and trying to make it more exciting, more cool.
Yeah.
And Then we have Damiano Calloni on keyboards, amazing musician. And just recently, we have Gabriele Costa on bass. So it's new in the family. So huge family. And of course, our sound engineer, Corrado Tolu, he's from Sardinia, the lucky one. And he's caring about the sounds, everything we do as an in-ear, because we have we all use in-ear monitors, not monitors, real monitors down there. So so the stage is silence. Just the drums make noise. Beautiful.
Wow.
And, then we have dancers. So it's really a big family. It's huge.
It's a phenomenal production in what you're doing. So let's go back to the audition. Did they tell you what songs they were going to prepare you for to play the audition?
Oh, they just gave me a reference track and then just play that. So it was, it's more difficult actually play live because you have to think to much more stuff compared when you do the auditions. Because in this show I have to use a drum machine, triggers, so connecting sounds, changing sound, drum sound while the show is going, sending the tracks, the backing tracks. We have a few backing tracks, of course, because otherwise we need the Michael Jackson band of 15 guys.
Right.
So we have I run the computer, and then there's also the electronic sounds that I have, to get closer to the best sound we can have, to respect the song and the music of Michael Jackson.
Boy, so did you chart things out from that audition? Did you chart things out, or just go with your ear, or what'd you do?
So I really wanted to write down, because I usually write down everything. Because I don't remember it. That's the main reason why. And that's another important thing. And for the drummers watching, work on your reading, work on, that's the thing that will save your life. Aside of technique, because you're not going to hurt yourself while playing. Yeah. The other things is reading, be able to transcribe stuff really quickly can give you a lot of jobs. Because if they call you, the day before, you're able to write down notes really quickly. So it's a skill that is necessary nowadays. There are no more bands, nowadays. You have sessions player. We play a lot with a lot of people compared to, maybe years ago.
Yeah, sure.
So, and what I was saying.
So writing things out and charting things out, you were going to do that.
But but I didn't do that for the project because they put the rehearse. So they called me, and 1 week and a half later, I had to rehearse. So the time was too short to write down everything, make it looks good, because sometimes I take notes with my pencil every time, and then I use Sibelius or Finale for transcribing and have a nice chart understandable for everybody. Right, but I didn't actually have the time to do that. So I did everything by memory.
So you listened to it and just put it into your, over and over, you heard it and just put it into your head.
Yeah, I did that way. I mean, I was focusing on the skills, required to play that kind of groove, because Michael Jackson has really a huge, it's his music is contaminated with a lot of genre. You got funk, you have rock, you have pop, you have to play on the beat, you have to play in front of the beat, a little bit backward, all the stuff, new stuff, R&B, hip hop. So it's crazy. And so I started to focus on what I needed, to really being focused on. And then, playing like 10 times each song. I did a playlist 10 times each song for the whole repertoire every day.
That's serious.
Yeah, man. Mike Mangini told me, he was good in winning auditions. And one of the tricks he told me, he always told me, if you can go there, if it's an important audition like this one, go there, know everything by memory, and learn what you have to play. Don't change anything. Just play what you have to play. Then, as you get familiar with the band, as you are familiar with the repertoire, you can start to move around. Changing drum fills, of course, are maybe the only thing you can really change, but not always, because we have dancers. So the dancer, as they have to do their own things. So if you change too much, so you have to understand perfectly where to do, your new things. Like okay, let me do this phrase because I feel it. Let's do that. 11/8 or 4/4, 2 bars, and let's see where we go. And that's I do that just in the instrumental moments, where I know that musician, they can, I strongly believe that my bandmates are, solid player. So then we have the metronome, we have the click, everything with is with a click, so nobody goes out.
There has to be a click, because the dancers, there's got to be the same exact tempo each evening for the dancers to hit their marks.
Yes.
It's very, very different when you're working with dancers as opposed to just having a band. If you're playing with a band and you want to push a song a little faster and you feel the crowd, but when you've got dancers, you've got to be like, this is like in Broadway when they play. You've got to play. If that metronome says 123, it's got to be 123.
Yeah. I did a couple of subs in Broadway, so I know the musical work definitely in the same way. So it's not different than do a musical, because we know everything is with the metronome, and we can change a little bit the mood of the song. If we want to play a little bit backward, like more groovy, we can do that. So it depends actually on each song. But the beautiful things of Michael Jackson is that every song has, it's another story. Yeah. So you can really change your playing song by song, and works good when with the metronome, because the metronome is a guideline, but then it's the band that actually make it sounds good. Otherwise, it sounds like a drum machine, and it's not any more music.
Well, that is so fantastic. So when you're traveling and doing the show, do you carry your own cymbals with you?
Not always, but the majority of the time I have a list of cymbals that I need, and they provide me Sabian's cymbals everywhere. So
fantastic. Let's talk about your cymbals now. You've got a phenomenal setup. You're in your studio. I'm going to pull myself off the screen, Elia, and I want you to kind of explain your cymbals. Sure. You won't be able to hear me, but I'll be able to see you. And I want to come back in, but I want to get a full screen for everyone to see. We've got tons of people listening here from literally all around the world. We just got Bruno Muse, a wonderful drummer, just joined us from Antwerp, Belgium. So we've got people all over the place. So let me pull myself out and talk about your cymbals, if you would.
All right. So this is the main setup that I use mostly in studio and also live. So this is actually one of my favorite cymbals. I don't know if you can see it. There are holes here around the bell. And this is an incredible crash. It's called the ISO crash. It's an 18-inch, and it's still one of my favorite cymbals. I don't know if a lot of people use it, but it's, give it a try, because it's definitely an incredible cymbals. And so as I play open-ended, the right cymbal is on my left side, and this one is an explosion ride, a beautiful ride, crashable. So it's a little bit heavier, and it's a little bit heavier than the Evolution ride, but it's really solid. The ping is beautiful, and the back cuts through the mix, amazingly. So going next, we have an explosion. This is actually new, because the other one died, after 5 years. But I had to have another one of these because it's an incredible cymbals. If you love cymbals that is cracking the mix and goes out really quickly, this is the cymbal you want. The AAX Explosion Crash. This is an 18-inch, and it's beautiful. On the other side here, I have Holy China. Chad Smith Holy China is an AA, and this is a really bad guy. This is really hard. Check this out. And another one that I really like is the AA Robot Crash. So I've been using explosion crashes both sides, different sizes, of course, but on both sides of my kit. But the problem that I found out when you play in big venues like arenas or stuff like that is that the explosion is too quick. So if you play many strokes, or if you play a feel and you're going over and over on the same cymbal, the explosion has not enough body to support the sound. And so the AA robot crash is the guy that is able to do that. So that's why I have always one of these in my setup, and is a little bit fuller in the sound. The tone is a little bit darker, but it's beautiful and support multiple playing. You know, like if you're playing a field and want to use the same crash, is the guy that you want to check out. And going forward, we have AAX frequency crash here. You can use this crash in 3,000 ways. In this case, I'm using it as a stacks. You can. It sounds great if you lose it, if you tie it up, and works beautifully. And underneath, I have a 14-inch Chinese AAX, and it looks like this way, right? So it's upside down. It's not this side. It's reverse it. You just put that here. It's a 14-inch because a 14-inch is not covering up, too much. Otherwise, if it's the same size, it doesn't move as I like, actually. So that's pretty much the big cymbals that I'm using. And this is an experiment for the hi-hat. This is actually the bottom side is a HH fusion hat, and the top is actually taken. I took this off from the fast stacks. So I took off the top cymbal, and I'm using it. You see, it's this one here, and I'm using it as a top for my hi-hat. This sounds incredible, and I can't wait to show you how it sounds in the upcoming project that I have, because I will be in studio, I think maybe in the next couple of months, recording some of the stacks and cymbals that you see here, especially, these combinations that I do, these stacks over here, these hi-hat here, and also the other guy here, the little guy here. And with my sound engineer, Gianluca Guidetti, we're going to do something special. So if you love this kind of things, subscribe to my YouTube channel and or Instagram and follow me, and you can see what we're going to do. Hope you like the tour.
Boy, good little cymbal tour there, Elia. They should really, really, really great. The it's amazing because the sounds that you have, you really kind of experimented finding your own sound, and that's really what I think Sabian does so well. They give us enough sound options that if you really design your own world of cymbals, which is just fantastic. I do the same thing on my setup behind us here.
Yeah, I mean, then I think that it changed the way you choose cymbals as you grow. The first time you choose the cymbal you like because you've seen the player you love that is using that thing, so you want to buy that cymbal, right?
Yeah.
Then change we choose cymbals for what we have to play. I also love, dark sound cymbals, of course. The artisans are beautiful. The legacy are beautiful. I have a lot of HHX stuff here, which is more dark, and warm as a sound. But for the music I play, it doesn't work. So it's good to have a variety of tools in terms of sounds to choose, the cymbal that really need, the music needs.
Well, Sabian is honored to have you, and you do so justice. And I want everyone to make sure they go to your Facebook and your Instagram and your website. I want them to really kind of check out your playing because it is absolutely fantastic. Just talk about, if you would, for a second before we leave here, about some of the books that you've used, that you've gone through, that you continue to go through. You've got an incredibly intense library of drumming books.
Yeah. I think everyone should have a library, right? I showed you the advanced concept of key and play field. So that's definitely one if of course you have to be, you need a teacher. There are a few books that you don't have to practice by your own. You need someone that guide you. That's crucial. Otherwise, sometimes we learn things maybe in the incorrect way. Like the first time I met you and you told me to play some exercises of the stick control. I was doing those, with the stick down, and you say, yeah, but George Lawrence Stone thought to be, play it, perform it, with the upstroke, right? Like there. So moving up, let's see here in my hand, right? Yeah. Going up. So the muscle works twice harder, compared to playing always down. So, if you can manage the book, you can do it, but sometimes it's also good to have a good teacher, that gives you the information, because then you have to do the job. But, so other books that are phenomenal. Here it is. Oh, this one has been challenging as well. While I was studying with you, there are a few exercises here that really I can't even tell you which one is that made me hate you a little bit. Yeah, the molar thing with the pumping motion, but then taking off the accent, going from the triple strokes. The triple strokes things was crazy.
Well, you learned it so well, man. You're such a great student, but you also had books like Future Sounds by David Garibaldi.
Future Sounds is another one. Then, I can tell you, man, this is another good one. The Art of Bob Drumming.
Absolutely, John Riley. Fantastic.
You should have books for, any kind of musical situation. You never know what happens. And another must is this one, syncopation.
And
you can do this book in 3,000 times.
Many ways. There's many different ways to go through it. Alan Dawson had 50 ways to go through it, but there are thousands of ways to go through a book like that. But you really are a great student, Elia. You really have a wonderful, perspective on learning, and that, to me, that's a very important quality.
You gotta do it for yourself first, right?
Yeah.
You gotta do it for yourself because you wanna, if you don't want to grow, I don't know. It's like eating the same. I think I got this one from Sergio Bellotti. It's like if you eat always the same kind of dish. If you wake up and you do breakfast with spaghetti, and then lunch with spaghetti, and then dinner with spaghetti, every day like that, man, would be a wasted life. So we have so much, in this world, a lot of cultures, a lot of music, a lot of knowledge, things to explore, so it's everything, it's out there, so we can just learn and try to incorporate pieces of those things in our playing, in our life.
Boy, very well said, man. But now you've got me hungry. Now I'm going to go get some spaghetti and some wine, and I'm going to go have some lunch here for sure.
I'm going to get my beer.
Yeah. Boy, Elia, thank you so much, man. You've done great today. It's been great to have a little bit of a stepping into your world, and your Sabian symbol setup is so great, and we've got so many great opportunities to be able to hear you through the internet. But if you are performing and your tour schedule, when the band gets back on the road, if anyone is near the area and can hear that show, the Michael Jackson show live, I would highly suggest to get out there and check it out.
Please come. Come and stop by to say hi. And if you come before the show, we can also do some practice pad.
There it is, man. Some workout stuff.
Did that thing. All right, thank you, Dom. Thanks also Joe Bergamini for inviting me, and all the Sabians guys. Mark Love also that I met last NAMM show, the 2020. Yeah. So great people. It's a great product, and I'm extremely honored to use this brand and to share it to the world.
Boy, fantastic, Elia. Thank you so much. And Joe Bergamini organizes all this for the Sabian Education Network. And it's just a great company that allows us to have this kind of a vehicle to be able to spread the word globally, as we've had people from many different countries today. And there'll be some future events that are coming up. Mike Sorrentino will be doing a part 2 of his incredible program that he put together. Joe sends out these emails. Check out, man. Be involved. The Sabian Education Network. SabianEd.com. Go there. There's information. All this stuff will be, you'll put them on a YouTube channel. Take the link, share the links. Elia, thank you so much. Stay well, stay safe, and I hope to see you real soon.
Yeah, thanks everybody, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.